shout echoes heavy, sharp as a fight. Alan steady with the facts, sharp and true. Fuji's fire breaks the calm, splits it in two. Pattison nav where the wild hearts run, talking sports, games, battles lost and won. Voices rise, break chains, ignite the flame. Fanatic thunder echo in the name.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Pattison Phanatics show. I'm your host, Tom Kelly. With me, as always, Alan Andrukavich.
What is up, gentlemen? Happy Monday to you all. Thank you all for being here. Let's go, Birds.
Mike Fuji in the building.
Happy Eagles victory Monday. Phil's one win away from clinching the National League East. What's up, fellas? Neil Hartman tonight. What's going on, Philly and the surrounding world of Philly sports?
And without further ado, our guest for tonight is in the green room. He's the director for the Center of Sports Communication and Social Impact at Rowan University and the CEO and executive producer for Tallow Media Group. He's also the director at Play-by-Play Sports Broadcasting Camps, and he has been on Comcast. He was on Comcast Sportsnet since inception in 1997. Our guest tonight, hopping on the Pattison Phanatics show for the first time, is Neil Hartman. Mr. Hartman, thank you so much for jumping on with us, sir.
My pleasure, guys. Good to be with you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here.
So right out of the gate, Fuji and I were messing around on the internet here, and we I'm gonna jump right into it, Fuji. We pulled up an old time photograph of you and some of your co-hosts back in the inception of Comcast Sports. Now, I'm 44 years old. I was a sophomore in high school in '97. I mean, I grew up with Comcast Sportsnet. So, how did that all come to be?
Well, first of all, I want you to put that picture back up.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I can.
How many of you can name everybody in that picture?
So I went from going, so I can get everybody but two. You got Michael Barkan, Leslie Goodell, yourself, Derek Gunn, D. Lynham, Ron Burke, and then Fuji knows the other two.
Pat Boyle and Pete. That was Pete's last name. Because Pete had a segment called I Beat Pete or something.
Yeah, that is right.
Where he would just go out on the street and challenge somebody to like a half ball game or something.
And I remember that segment too. I just couldn't remember Pete's name.
Yeah, so his name is Pete Christie. He lives in Lubbock, Texas now. So he was from Texas, and then he came here to Philadelphia. I guess Pete was here probably about, 4 or 5 years, I guess. And but to answer your question, I guess TK asked the question. It's Comcast Sportsnet was really, if you think about it, it was Pat Croce, who was the trainer for athletes, primarily Flyers and Sixers. He then stepped away from that. He started NovaCare. So Pat made a ton of money, kind of took a step back. And then all of a sudden in the late 90s, Pat started showing up at Sixer games and in the press box. We just all didn't think anything of it. Well, as it turns out, Pat was the one that convinced Ed Snyder to sell his part of the Flyers, or he owned the Flyers. So sell the Flyers to the Sixers, or to Comcast for the Sixers. And Snyder gave up a piece of the Flyers, got a piece of the Sixers, and that's how that part came to be in 1996. And then in 97 is when Comcast Sportsnet went on the air. They said, we're going to start. Brian Roberts actually was the one that really pushed it hard, said we want it. And Ed Snyder, who, by the way, also started WIP back in the day, said he wanted to start this all sports channel. And so we retained the rights from Prism and Sports Channel and kind of took over.
Prism. Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah, Comcast Sportsnet went on the air in 1997. I was there almost 19 years. It was a great run. Really enjoyed it. And, all those guys, I still keep in touch with all those guys pretty much. So it's a fond memory for me. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that time. And, it's kind of a different era today.
Those Prism days, like growing up in South Philly, I grew up in Grace Ferry in South Philly. you could get Prism on our side of Broad Street, on the west side of Broad Street, but on the east side of Broad Street, they didn't get Prism. So a lot of bars got business on the west side of Broad Street.
You know what? Here's an interesting note. Comcast utilized Comcast Sportsnet to their advantage. The least amount of satellite penetration in any major market was here in Philadelphia, and it was all because of Comcast Sportsnet, because we were not available on satellite. So you had to get cable.
Yep.
So people bought cable in this market, and it was all because of Comcast Sportsnet, because they utilized the microwave distribution of what Prism and Sports Channel used back in the day. Yep. And then it continued with Comcast Sportsnet. So for many, many years, it wasn't available on satellite. And so that was a big draw for Comcast.
Well, that was like not sports related, but there was a time that Comcast/Xfinity wasn't letting like Verizon Fios in the Philadelphia area. And I believe it went to court.
It did. And it was eventually they did get the opportunity to be able to carry Comcast Sportsnet. Eventually it went to satellite, and it was available. All the regionals were on satellite. So, but it's a changing time now. That period, it was before these devices where people could just instantly get a score, highlight, everything on social media the way it's distributed today. So it was just a changing time, but there was a really good run. I would say for about 15 years, Comcast Sportsnet was the dominant sports provider in the Delaware Valley and beyond, really. I mean, we go all the way up to Penn State, and you go down to the Maryland line, and into Princeton, and all the way down to the shore. I mean, there's a lot of people that were able to watch it. So it was a great run. It was really a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. Fuji, I know you got a couple of questions for Neil.
Neil, you were around when you saw the whole Eric Lindros saga play out. And there's a question I didn't even know about that is probably one of the biggest press conferences in Philadelphia, and I don't even know if I should even ask you this, about the Allen Iverson practice. Now, you were the one that asked that question?
I was. But first, I just want to add one thing about Lindros. So Lindros, I had a decent relationship with Eric. I didn't cover the Flyers. I mean, I was primarily an anchor in the studio, as our main anchor in the studio. But, you'd have occasion. Before I was at Comcast, I was at Channel 3 for about 2.5 years, and I covered some Flyer teams then. And anyway, I got to know Eric a little bit. And so when Lindros went to the Rangers, they said, all right, instead of one of our beat guys, Hartman, you have a good relationship with him, you go do that press conference at Madison Square Garden when he went with the Rangers. Mm-hmm. I go to Madison Square Garden. He does all these one-on-one interviews with everybody. And there was a PR guy by the name of Mark Piazza. Mark was a former Flyer guy and worked in New York. And I knew Mark. And I go, what's the deal? Like, why isn't Lindros talking to me? He goes, Neil, he's not talking to anybody that has anything to do with Comcast. Wow. And it wasn't me. It was the corporation that he was ticked off. And in this case, Comcast Spectacor. And so I actually, one of the few times I was fuming, and I went on the air and I said, Eric Lindros, I'll tell you what, it's a little petty of him. He's not talking to me right now because I represent Comcast. I'm here to do an interview with him. He talked to everybody in this room but me, and I had a good relationship with him. So anyway, that moment really ticked me off because of the way Eric handled it. Right. Obviously, things have cleared up with Eric and the Flyers, and it rightfully so. It should. He's a tremendous player, and obviously all those concussions played a factor. To your question, Mike, about Allen Iverson, yes, in May of 2002 is when that press conference occurred. Now you have to understand a little backstory to that. The Sixers, the year before, 2001, what did they do?
Championship.
Went to the NBA Finals, lost in 5 games to the Lakers. The next year, they get blown out in the first round in Game 5 at Boston. 2 days later, they have the press conference. Iverson, at that time, people were saying, remember, he was MVP the year before. And then this time they're saying, oh, maybe we should trade him. But my question was a legitimate one because Larry Brown all season long said Allen Iverson did not show up to practice, didn't practice hard. He made a big deal about AI and practice. And I asked Allen to clear the air about practice and about his practicing habits. And he answered that was about 4.5, 5 minutes into that press conference that day. And Allen answered it kind of normal, and then something clicked. And he just went off, started saying practice. We're talking about practice, not a game, not the game I love, not the game I die for. We're talking practice. You understand what we're talking about? We're talking about practice. And so he then looked at me and he goes, you see me playing every day and working hard here in a game. And I give it my all. And I go, absolutely. Yes, you do. But Allen, it's something that your coach raised. Right. And then the best line of the whole press conference is, how the hell am I going to make my teammates better by practicing? That's the best line of the whole press conference. So that was May of 2002. I'm at Rowan, as you mentioned earlier. I oversee our sports communication media program with Dr. Emil Steiner, and I teach a class on the history of sport of Philadelphia. And so I'm always amazed that students in that class who were born after that press conference, I'll say 75 to 80% of the students that always come into that class know about that press conference.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's remarkable to me to think that they weren't even born, and they know it. Ted Lasso, they did the whole thing. I don't watch Ted Lasso, but I heard about it. They did a whole episode on practice, and they verbatim, they took Iverson's comments and used it in Ted Lasso.
Wow.
There was a commercial about 2 years ago, I believe it was one of the insurance companies, and Iverson sitting at a podium.
Oh, yeah.
Practice. Right?
Yes.
He did that.
Yes.
So in 2016, I saw Allen at the Final Four. That was the year Villanova won. They beat North Carolina on the last second jumper by Chris Jenkins. And I asked Allen, I said, Allen, do you know who asked you the question about practice? He goes, oh, I do not. I go, it was me. And he looked at me and he goes, and I liked you. And then he always thought it was the late Phil Jasner, was a great writer. And Phil Jasner asked the question. It was not Phil. But he said that to this day, and at that time, it was in 2016, he says, I get asked about practice every day. I hear the word practice every day. Think about that every day. The guy he's walking through an airport, going to the local grocery store, wherever he's going, wherever I might not be going to a grocery store. All right, the local bar, wherever he's going.
Yeah.
But to hear that every day, practice. That's so. I thought, again, it was a legitimate question. And I think that he had a lot on his mind. He had a friend who passed away. He was hearing about trade rumors. They just lost in game 5 of the first round after going to the NBA Finals. So there's a lot on his mind, and I get it. But I don't regret that question at all.
No, it's one of the best sound drops I think we've ever had come out of sports in the city.
Big time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just happened to research it and I saw it. I was like,
I saw that too. If you didn't ask, I was going to ask, Fuj. Look, we're 2 games into the bird season. Before we let you go, and thank you again for jumping on with us. This is your first time on the Pattison Phanatics show, and we appreciate it. So the Eagles are 2-0 right now, but as I'm sure you're aware, Philadelphia fans tend to be somewhat critical of their sports teams. Is this 2-0 leaving you with any kind of questions? Maybe what's your biggest concern about this Eagles team, early on in the season here?
Well, I'd like to see A.J. Brown get more involved in the offense. That's for sure. Look, I think you can't complain. They're 2-0. They went into Kansas City, and I know the Chiefs aren't the Chiefs of old, but they're still the Chiefs until they get knocked off and not in a Super Bowl. They're still the Chiefs. Dallas isn't Dallas is Dallas. I mean, Dak can be Dak. So anyway, I don't think both those wins, you shouldn't sneeze about them. They're nice wins. You're 2-0. All right, let's see what they do against the Rams. All right, it's another good team. I just think right now, offensively, I'm not surprised. They didn't play in any preseason game. They didn't. They haven't played. This is like their preseason right now. So. And look, I'm a big Jalen Hurts fan. I think the guy figures out ways to win. To me, I don't care if he's putting up great stats and 400 yards or whatever. I don't care. He wins. The guy wins wherever he goes. He won at Alabama. He won at Oklahoma. It doesn't matter what this guy does. He wins. Defensively, boy, you can see the value of Jalen Carter from game 1 to game 2. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah, absolutely.
How open? Who's the guy that caught the touchdown for Kansas City? He was open twice, 3 times actually in the last 2-3 minutes of the game. Who caught the touchdown? There was a wide open touchdown that the Eagles. I'm a little concerned about the secondary sometimes. Let's figure this out. But overall, I can't be that upset about the way, or anybody should be that. I mean, look, we're going to nitpick. We're Philadelphia. We're supposed to.
Yes,
we do.
Yes.
But I'm not. I still think this is a pretty good team. Listen, I was in Miami yesterday, so I went to the Dolphins Patriots game. Okay, if you want to see a really bad, my son works for the Miami Dolphins. He's a scout. If you want to see a really bad defense, you watch the Miami Dolphins defense.
Yeah.
NFL record 10 straight scoring drives to start the season against the Miami Dolphins defense.
Wow.
Never happened in NFL history. From last week when they lost to the Colts, who might not be that bad, by the way.
Yeah.
And then
Daniel Jones.
And the Patriots look like they really were Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, it's crazy the way they just move the ball down the field to start the game. Anyway, look, I'm not surprised they're getting off to a little sluggish start. And again, I'm going to say that's because of lack of preseason games. And by the way, I'm not saying I'm not a fan of that. I want guys healthy. I want guys playing and healthy. And if that's what it takes to get them playing and healthy, it's a long season. And if that's what it takes, I'm all for it. I'll deal with – I mean, look, we saw it last year, 2-2 last year. At least now, let's see what happens the next 2 weeks. But at least now they're winning games. And they're not winning – eloquently enough. So
yes, right. Yeah.
Alan, I know you had one for Neil as well.
I have one question. How are you feeling with Patullo's offense? Are you happy with it? I kind of feel like it's a slow developing, but then again, you brought into this is their preseason and all of that. But how are you feeling about the offense as we're progressing here, going into the 3rd week?
Well, look, they have an incredible amount of weapons. Now, Dallas Goedert didn't play, so that's a factor. But still, I think they have a lot of weapons. I think anytime you have a new coordinator, it's going to take a little time. Look at Vic Fangio last year. He didn't start out great. I mean, that defense picked it up as the season went along. I'm going to give Patullo a little credit here and give him a chance. Don't think it's like a Brian Johnson situation, which got really ugly pretty quickly. I mean, that was pretty noticeable. I don't think I'm ready to say that yet. But no, they're not doing what we know they're capable of doing. But it is also 2 weeks,
right?
So I need AJ Brown. I mean, Saquon, and he's not even able to run the ball the way we thought he might be able to run the ball.
Right. AJ Brown catch yesterday. That one hit.
That was a sick behind his head.
Yeah,
behind his head. So look, I want to see him stretch the field a little bit, get AJ out there a little bit instead of these little 5-yard slant patterns. Now granted, you can make that 5-yard slant pattern into a 25-yard gain.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know. To me, it's more AJ. I'd like to see the offense spread out a little bit. I'd like to see them run the ball a little more. I mean, they did run the ball relatively effectively when they had to late in the game to kind of run the clock out a little bit. But work in progress is what I would say, Alan. That's what I would say about the way the Eagles are right now.
All right. And Neil, one more before we let you go. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about the Center for Sports Communication and Social Impact over there at Rowan University? Maybe a little bit about your class that you teach as well.
Yeah. So look, I feel really lucky. 35 years I was a sportscaster. Great. Enjoyed my career. Had a nice run. I've been here in Philadelphia since 1988. And then in 2016, my contract wasn't renewed, and it's nothing to do about me or anything like that. I was the beginning of, and again, it's these devices. They changed the direction of what they were going to do, and I was the first ball to drop. And when that happens, you kind of have to figure out, all right, what am I going to do next? And so I went into content development, did some programs, work for like Netflix, Amazon, Showtime, some pretty nice, premium channels, but it wasn't a sustainable business. I don't know if you guys are golfers, but I did a program called the Haney Project on Golf Channel where Charles Barkley had a horrible swing. This was back in 2008. This is a long time. And then I was involved in that. And that's what got me involved in content development when I was still working at Comcast. Anyway, I did that for a couple of years. And then I'm like, I got asked if I wanted to teach at Rowan, Burlington County, which is in Mount Laurel. And I said, yeah, it'd be interesting to teach a sports media class. And I put it out there on social media. And my old boss at Channel 3 saw it. He said, hey, Neil, I'm at Temple. Come on down. Let's talk. I walk into his office. A woman puts her hand out and says, hey, I hear you're teaching for us or teaching with us. And I'm like, I guess I am. So I started teaching that at Temple and Rowan, Burlington County at the same time. So that was 9 years ago. So I've been now 9 years almost 9 years in higher ed, and I feel really fortunate to be in academia. So I've been at Rowan now for 6 years. I was at Temple for 2. Been at Rowan. I'm working into my 7th year, and I really, really enjoy it. It's an opportunity. We have a really growing program in sports communication and media. A bunch of these kids want to not only be broadcasters, but social media, marketing, and event planning, and production, and all those things that are involved in this business. And for example, we have a program called Pizza with the Pros, where I bring in sports industry professionals to campus every week for 10 straight weeks. Tom McCarthy's my guest on Monday. He comes in and we get about 130, well, probably 140 kids that come, and it's not a class. They come on their own, and they learn for an hour in a Q&A with the guest. And it's a really neat opportunity. And then the next day, on next Tuesday, I have Charles Barkley coming to campus, and this will be Charles'
that's very nice.
trip to Rowan. He happens to be a really good friend, so he's coming, and we'll probably have about 800-900 people in our auditorium there. So it'll be really neat. But again, I just enjoy the interaction with the students, mentoring students, and it's a very rewarding job. Look, it's one of the coolest things when you get a call from a student and say, "Yo, Professor Hartman, man, I just landed this gig."
That's awesome.
That's a really cool, feeling for someone that you played a role in helping them achieve their dream. Right. And so that's what I'm doing now. And then in the summer, I do these sports broadcasting camps all over the country in Seattle, Denver, Chicago, Washington, D.C., Philly. I do this sports broadcasting camps, and that company's been around since 2002, and we have about 1,000 campers all summer long, and it's it aligns with my work with Rowan of mentoring and having an impact on young people's lives. So I enjoy it.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Keep it up.
Neil, I had 2 questions for we let you go. What was, as far as Philly sports, what was the most memorable? No, I can't even get it out. Most memorable
sports moment?
Sports moment for you in your 35 years covering Philly sports.
That's the World Series, I think, in 2008. I think that, first of all, that Villanova win was I don't know how you top a win for a national championship with a guy hitting a 30-footer for championship with Chris Jenkins. That was pretty cool. The Phillies being able to cover a Super Bowl and being able to cover NBA Finals, and that Allen Iverson team in 2001 was a lot of fun. I covered the Sixers back during the Barkley era as well. So all those moments kind of fall into place. None of them really, look. Smarty Jones was an interesting run. I covered Bernard Hopkins a lot and what he was able to do. The St. Joe's teams and during Jameer Nelson was a young player. The #1 in the country. That was a really cool, unexpected moment. And I had a lot to, covered a lot of those teams. So there's so many things over the course of my career that I've been able to do. But the wildest thing for me, and it's beyond Philadelphia sports, I went to Ithaca College, and when I was a junior in college, the Winter Olympics were in Lake Placid, New York. Do we know what happened in 1980 in Lake Placid, New York?
Yes, sir. Gold.
Do you believe in
USA.
miracles? Do you believe in miracles? And I happened to be sitting right next to Al Michaels when he said, "Do you believe in miracles?"
Wow.
Oh my God, it's
I was
amazing.
his production assistant. So for me, I wasn't a hockey fan at all, but I was at every one of those games, sitting right next to Ken Dryden, who just passed away, by the way, and Al Michaels. And I'm there as a production assistant. It's myself and another guy named John Bassoni, and we were those guys that were there to help the announcers. And I mean, that's pretty tough to top that moment of being there and seeing it. Now they have to beat Finland the next round to win the goal, but to me, that's the moment, Mike, that stands out. All the Philly moments, there's so many that were so cool and neat to be part of. Everyone's always going to bring up practice with me, about that question. But for me, I loved the ability to be able to cover a lot of different things in Philadelphia. And this is a great sports town. It's why you guys can do this podcast and have people that are interested in just, talking sports.
Right.
This is a great, great sports town. And I feel very fortunate that I had an opportunity to be able to do it for a long period of time here in this town.
There was also a old colleague who used to be on my first show when I started podcasting Broad Street South. She has a podcast called First and Jen. Her name's Jen McGraw. And I believe she went to Rowan.
She did.
I believe she was one of your students.
She was. I know Jen. Yeah, absolutely.
I know she's like grown leaps and bounds in the last couple years, covering the Eagles. And I think she does something with women with the NFL as well.
So Jen she's what I love about some of our students, and Jen's one of them, is their desire to keep at it, like have a great work ethic, determined to be able to be successful. They want to work in this business. And interesting you bring up Jen. I've had some conversations with her, since she's even graduated, in the last few years. So, that's somebody that I love to hear how they're. And she started her own podcast. She started, First and Jen, as you pointed out. I mean, just all these things that she's done. That's what it takes. Like, it's a hard business. I get emails from our. Probably, to be honest with you, about 20% of my time is probably dealing with our alumni. A guy that was very successful in college, and it's hard to find a job in this business. It's a tough business. And if you land a job, and we've had plenty of them do very, very well all over the East Coast, but it's hard to break in. And so someone like Jen, who just continues to pound knock on the door. Okay, I'm ready to do this. Who's looking to do this? And I give her a lot of credit for that. And I was unaware that you had that relationship with her, so that was neat that you brought her up.
Oh yeah, I'm going back maybe 3.5, 4 years ago, and she had the drive then.
Yeah,
and look where she is now. So she's really taken off, and like you said, she would pound the pavement. She had the fire and desire.
Yep. Yeah.
You could just see that just meeting her out of the gate.
Yeah, that's neat. Well, you know what? Like, as you talk,
dogs and fighting.
Oh yeah, get the dog in here. I look behind you, Mike, and I look at Veterans Stadium. I mean, that's a classic right there, man. In my class, about half the class is from the New York area, and I'll bring up, how many of you have heard of the 700 level? And the guys from New York are looking around; they have no idea, right? And then there's always a few that go, "Oh, I've heard stories about the 700 level. Didn't they have a judge and a cell? Like they bring that up, So
yeah.
I one time when I was at Channel 3, I went undercover. I was with cops who were undercover, and with a camera to see the shenanigans that go on at the 700 level. It was our 700 level,
It was.
The dirt was terrible. I mean, Yeah,
Definitely.
it's a.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just looking at that picture. I'm thinking, oh yeah, look at that spot.
I'll never
Oh,
be another
man.
700 level again.
No, sir.
No, there will never
sir.
be another
Never.
700 level ever.
Well, Neil, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for jumping on with us today.
Appreciate
We
it.
greatly appreciate it.
No, absolutely. It was
pleasure,
a
guys.
blast.
I
It
wish
was
you well.
great. This is great.
Yes, sir.
Wish you well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
for
you so
coming
much.
on, taking your
Take care.
time. Have a good night.
All right. All right, boys.
He was
The
awesome.
the great Neil Hartman, everybody. I mean,
He was
you
great.
can't get much better than that. Let me jump over to the text board real quick. Yo,
He was
TK.
great.
It's Mason. This is my man, Mason King, from our baseball team. He's our catcher on our Deals baseball team. Mason,
What up,
thank you
Mason?
so much for
Mace.
checking in, my brother. John Wagner, hey, guys. Hope he has a great weekend. How about them Birds? Hey, 2-0. Can't beat it. Cruz checking in. How about that Parker Hatter? Parker Hatter is a running back for Tri-Valley. Norm and I do a helmet-to-helmet football show, weekly football show, and one of our local schools here in Nativity played Tri-Valley this weekend. Tri-Valley beat them. Parker Hatter, their running back for Tri-Valley, had 3 touchdowns. Monster game he had against our Nativity Green Wave. So it's been a wild weekend of football to say the least.
That's awesome. Good.
Boys, for the real quick before we continue, I want to. So we went down this past Saturday to an open workout for the Reading Riveters. The Reading Riveters are an all-female football team. The AWFL is the league that they're in. And I just wanted to give out a little bit of information here on the Reading Riveters. If you're interested in joining the All-Female Football League, the AWFL, and you're 18 years of age or older, the Reading Riveters are looking for you. Stop out to one of their open workouts on Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon at Shiloh Hills Park, 303 Sage Drive in Reading, PA. There will also be a combine on Saturday, October 11th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Don Thomas Stadium at Exeter High School, 201 East 37th Street in Reading, PA. There's a $25 registration fee. The fee secures your spot at the combine, gets you an event t-shirt, and covers food and beverages post-event. Call 484-794-4771 for more information. It was a really neat time down there.
That's
a lot of great athletes. We got a lot of video. There'll be definitely some more information coming out on the Riveters very soon for sure. So, boys, let's jump into this past Sunday, this Eagles game. Give me a little bit of your thoughts, Alan. I'll start with you. Give me a little bit of your thoughts on the on yesterday's Eagles game.
It wasn't pretty, but they got it done. Jalen protected the ball. They did what they had to do. It wasn't pretty, but they did what they had to do. As much as people want to doubt the secondary, I'm still there as well. I'm still in I'm not real sure about the secondary here. I think they played pretty well yesterday. They came up when they had to. The whole defense came up when they had to. I think that was the difference in the game. That big pick there by Makuba was game changing. So, it was. I'd like to see a little more from the offense, a little more spark. I know they did well. They you know what I mean? They get down there, they do their thing, but
I think you're speaking for
every
Eagles fan when you talk about that. And Mr. Hartman was nice. He's like, we're never going to be, we're always going to be critical. We're never going to be satisfied.
Yes.
There's always something to complain about. Pooch, are the Chiefs in trouble? Is this Chiefs team in trouble?
I think this team's aged. Kelsey.
Yeah, I agree.
Kelsey and his fiance, which I don't want to see her on any TV. Sorry. I may take my licks for that, but
I think she's on a Europe tour. You don't have to worry about it.
Sorry, TK, but I'm not about the Swiftie being. She has no reason to be on TV for football.
This is this is the identity. This is the identity that I've assumed over the last month or so.
Yes, sir.
I think Kelsey's aged. This team I'm going to say it point blank. Vic Fangio laid the blueprint on how to beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59. We went into the schoolyard They were the big bully. We punched them in the mouth and took their lunch money. Ran it. We steamrolled them. So I think Vic laid the blueprint on how to beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, punch him in the mouth. No, go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
I was going to let you go. I think personally, I think they're in trouble. Sorry, I'm a little flustered here for a second.
Yeah.
I think that I think Fuji's just nailed it. I think they've aged.
Yep.
And I think they might be in a little bit of a pickle here, boys.
I think they're I totally agree. I think they're in a little bit of turmoil. This is the first time they've lost 2 games in a row, 3 if you count the Super Bowl, 3 games in a row since Patrick Mahomes has been their quarterback. Like that's.
I just think that
it's
organization.
It's not the three-peat he was looking for, but he got one.
I think that organization got too cocky too fast, which I just think the hourglass ran out.
Yeah. You think Andy's going to be retiring in the next couple years here? Maybe
he strikes me as the type. I don't know, man. I don't know if that guy's going to step away so quietly.
Right.
He loves it. He loves it. Yeah, I almost. You would like to see him maybe not ride off into the sunset because I don't want anybody but the Eagles to win Super Bowls. So that's where my brain's going to go.
Right.
But he's that guy is football. I mean, there's not many people on planet Earth that love football more than Andy Reid. So I don't know if he's going to walk away so quietly or if he's going to stick around. I hope he doesn't overstay his welcome. I hope when it's time that he does ride off into the sunset for sure.
Yeah.
Well, just ruin his legacy too.
Was that
ruin his legacy too?
Oh,
exactly. And I mean, he has one hell of a legacy for sure.
He does.
He
does. He has one here right here in Philadelphia.
To be the winningest head coach on 2 football teams is pretty damn impressive.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And go ahead.
I was going to say, man, he brought winning back to Philadelphia. Him and Jeffrey Lurie, obviously, but they brought winning back to Philadelphia together.
To be the winningest head coach on a team that had Marty Schottenheimer as a head coach for years is pretty impressive.
Oh, not only Marty Ball, he also had Vermeil for a short time, Herman Edwards, before. After Marty Ball in the late 90s, I believe, early 2000s.
So let me look. The first 2 games, I'm going to jump into Saquon here. The first 2 games, Saquon has appeared a bit pedestrian. Fuge, what are your thoughts on what's happening with Saquon here now? When we asked Neil Hartman, he did say this is like their preseason. A lot of these guys didn't play. Is that a factor as well? What are your thoughts on Saquon's first 2 games, Fuge? I'll start with you.
I just think, Patullo being the passing game coordinator since Sirianni came along with him, with his staff, it's interesting as opposed to what Kellen Moore was. Going back to what Neil said, technically, this is their preseason because these guys didn't really play since the Super Bowl. And, it's going to be interesting to see how Kevin Patullo mixes it up. I mean, is it going to be a run or pass first offense? And, we're 2 games in. And technically, you ain't going to really see what this team's about until another 2 to 4 weeks, really, to really get this team going. And with A.J. Brown, who knows what A.J. Brown with that hamstring. I mean, all right, he looked good. But, I think Patullo is playing a little too conservative. I think you got to open up this offense after 2 games. I think you got to bomb it downfield.
Alan, how about you?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the offense it has been a little pedestrian. They have now the first game, Dallas took away the deep threat and just let Jalen run the ball whenever he wanted. Right? We spread the field, and they gave Jalen the middle of the field. Kansas City, we spread the field, and they didn't. The middle of the field wasn't there. Right? So he had to find an outlet. Everyone's going to key on Saquon. You're talking 1st and 10, 2nd and 4, 3rd and 6. Like, you're going to key on Saquon. Is he going to have 2,000 yards rushing again this year? Probably not. Will he have 1,000 yards? Yeah, I think he'll get. I think he'll get to 1,000 yards this year.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too.
But just I don't know, man. Just need a little more out of the whole thing. Kansas City's defense played us very tough. I don't know, a little dirty as well, but a little tough. That revenge thing Fuji was talking about, kind of played in there, but all in all, they just got to get a little more spark. I agree with Fuji on that. They gotta make it a little quicker. I don't know. I have that. It's very just like slowly progressing. I mean, they owned the clock yesterday, but they didn't own the stats. But they got to win.
Sure.
So they got to win. So that's the positive.
There was at the end of the game. Did you guys see the clip where Chris Jones was trying to give Hurts a hard time, saying you didn't even get over 100 yards, and Hurts said, "We won the effing game. Shut the hell up."
Yes, I did. I loved it. That's my quarterback right there. I don't care if I had 100 yards. We won. We won.
Yes, exactly right, man. And I for Jalen, the swag, like, he's always been calm. He's always been level-headed, low-key guy. A field general out there, but low-key guy. But to see a clip like that, which I'm sure there's plenty throughout a game that we don't see.
Yes.
But to see the quarterback of your team, like, I don't care what my stat line is, dude. We won the game. Beat it. Yep. Like that for me says everything, tells me everything I need to know about Jalen Hurts.
Exactly. Quarterback number 1, baby. Number 1.
QB1.
Go.
So how much did the Birds miss not having Dallas in the lineup this week?
I think it hurt a lot.
I think it hurt a lot. It definitely hurt on the short passing game. It was hard to see on the TV though, like where everyone's playing out and stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. In the yak department too, yards after catch for those who don't know.
Yeah. I wish the NFL would go to that Madden look where the offense is always behind. You know what I mean? The offensive line, so you can see everything downfield and kind of see the whole play progressing. But that'll never happen.
My man Freddie Burns checking in. Any thoughts to McNabb hating on Hurts on WIP today? Go Birds. Fred, I hope all is well. Fred and I worked together over at the Edge of Philly Sports for some time, and Fred, I hope all is well with the family. Hope little man's doing well, and the rest of the Burns is out there. That does not. I mean that's isn't that not Donovan McNabb at this point? He can say things, but it's like it gets to a point where it's diarrhea of the mouth, and McNabb can't help himself. He can't help himself. It's always going to and I didn't even hear the soundbite. I'm not in, like, I listen to WIP on Odyssey now. I don't get it where I'm currently living, but it doesn't surprise me at all. I don't know if either one of you guys caught it. I know you're in the broadcasting range for WIP.
Yeah, no, I didn't catch it. He's probably on with Spike and Ike. But no,
that's probably what it was.
Yeah, I didn't catch it. Yeah,
but McNabb's always been criticizing, Eagles of
anybody who's in that role I don't think because he gave it to Carson Wentz. Okay, but back when Carson was the quarterback, everybody after him at one point or another caught some shade from Donovan McNabb, and Jalen Hurts is going to be no exception. And if you can't tell me that number 5 sitting from afar, watching this kid come in as a backup and then taking over, getting drafted and not getting booed, okay? Getting drafted, not getting booed, coming in, taking over the reins, and then basically starting his career as good as any quarterback that's ever done it, pretty much, give or take a little bit. But I mean, and to see how he's adored in this town and how people go to bat for him in this town and how they did the opposite for Donovan, which I'm not a McNabb hater. And he definitely caught some crap that he didn't deserve to catch. But once you booed him at the draft, you lost him forever. He could say whatever he wants. Number 5 will always love you. In my personal opinion, he'll always feel some type of way when it comes to this fan base for the draft. And look, let's be honest. That was Angelo Cataldi and the Dirty 30. That wasn't every single Eagles fan. Nope. Now I know we all wanted Ricky Williams. I wanted Ricky Williams. I was wrong, and a lot of us were wrong. Ricky Williams, less than a mediocre career. Donovan McNabb, one of the greatest quarterbacks in Eagles history.
Exactly.
Potential Hall of Famer. Yep.
On the bubble, on the outside of the bubble.
Had he won the had he won the chip.
Maybe. Had he in 04, or if you make it in one of those other games, we were the Buffalo Bills of the Buffalo Bills of the NFC Championship game.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yes, we were. Yes,
but
we were.
Freddie, thank you for bringing that up. I did not know that. I'm gonna shoot back there and jump on that interview so I can hear exactly what he said. Probably tomorrow during the workday, I'll jump on and give that interview a listen. Let me ask you guys something here. At this point, is the tush push the most successful play you've ever seen?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the only play that I've ever seen that is more successful than the tush push, and it has nothing to do with the actual NFL, was Joe Montana football on Sega Genesis. The Buffalo Bills, Thurman Thomas would run a flip weak to the left side, and I could score every single time with that play.
What? The defense?
Other than that,
everybody's going right. Thomas is going left.
And I don't care if I was playing somebody who knew what I was going to run. I would tell you what I was going to run. I was still scoring.
Going forward after this season, I know it was already voted on in the offseason. I could see the NFL just banning the tush push altogether. After
yesterday, the shade that was thrown towards it took it to another level. Dean Blandino was hammering the tush push yesterday, saying it's like for instant replay you can't call it. There's a certain Commanders fan that I hang around that is just every 20 seconds is turning his phone and showing me somebody else talking about the tush push, somebody else, another video. They're always offsides, this and that, and I get it.
Will hate.
Haters gonna hate.
Everyone is free to run it. It's a play that's out there. You can run it yourselves.
To quote the great Taylor Swift, haters gonna hate it.
Hate. Go Birds!
But like, look,
you had to bring that up, didn't you?
Of course.
You had to bring Taylor Swift.
He's a Swiftie. Of course he's
I am a newfound Swiftie. And Norm's not in the green room, so there will not be photographic evidence put up to corroborate.
I'm enjoying a certain interview with Miss Taylor.
And might I just say, I've been in the podcast world now for quite some time. The Kelsey brothers, one of which is one of the greatest Philadelphia Eagles of all time, has his own podcast. I'm going to tune in. It just happened to be the episode that Taylor Swift was on. I tune into New Heights every week. I watch every episode that those guys do. But for some reason, this photograph appeared. And
let's see it.
And Jess is checking in. I'm getting laughed at. I am not a Swiftie, ladies and gentlemen.
You probably have every CD.
I have no CDs.
Away.
I have no CDs.
Have all those
My goodness.
iTunes.
There. All right. I'll bring
There
the
it is.
photo up. So there is the photo. Because I would be remiss, and I know Norm would bring it up. Yes, that is Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce on the screen, but it is the New Heights podcast. Jason Kelsey's a host. It's one of the greatest Eagles of all time.
That he is.
So
yes, he is. Yes, he is.
I'm going to tune
Super Bowl
in.
champion as well.
I would say within the shadow of a doubt.
So, you asked Neil Hartman about Kevin Petullo's offense, and I kind of want to jump in. I kind of want to jump in on that. We got like 10 minutes left in the show here. It seemed very vanilla. Mm-hmm. Everything is very vanilla. Is that because they're just not interested in kind of diving into their playbook right now, or is it because everybody's learning a new system again? Jalen Hurts' identity at this point is learning a new. I'm the quarterback that learns a new system.
Mm-hmm.
So to think that he's had a different OC every year he's been here. I
too.
Yes.
I'll go back and say it. There is no system without Jalen Hurts. Jalen is the system. It goes through him.
Yes, I agree.
He runs that thing. I be honest with you, since Patullo came from inside, I wouldn't doubt that him and Jalen are sitting down talking about the plays, talking about what they want to run, what they want to do, how they want to do it. And then, maybe even having a little signal with Patullo's in his headset saying, maybe he taps his helmet or something. Yeah, like, give me another one. I don't know. I see Jalen having maybe a lot more say than we might know in this offense, which I'm all for if that's the case. I'm just speculating. That's all, just from my brain. That none of that is legit for all the listeners out there.
So preseason, beginning of the season. I mean, we're still basically in the beginning of the season. We're only 2 games in. I did make it known that I felt there was going to be a learning curve. I felt there was going to be a learning curve on the defensive side of the ball as well, with a lot of young players coming in. Mm-hmm. The one corner spot not being an ideal situation under any circumstances. But I fully believe that there's a learning curve on both sides of the ball for this team right now. But what they're doing, they're not making mistakes. They're not turning the ball over and giving the other teams a chance at a short field. And I think that's why you're 2-0, and a little bit of luck. I mean, let's be honest here. If Makuba doesn't make that pick, they're probably going to score. If Kelsey, that's more Kelsey than it is Makuba.
Yep.
He was just right place, right time.
Damn right. Yeah.
Every push.
There's a little disturbance.
There's the peanut gallery.
That's right, folks. The peanut gallery for sure.
On the nose roll.
Yes, photographic evidence.
Tell the nose roll and shut your mouth.
I explained to
Fuji's coming to Schuylkill County. He got fired up.
I may be in the car by the time that show's over. On my way.
Look, I will tell you this: the tush push
ain't going nowhere this year.
Tough, look, not this year, but I can absolutely see them Xing that out next year for sure.
I think so. As much as I hate
for sure.
Did you see it? Tell them they're going back.
Worry about your team and your quarterback.
Said Mike Fucci said, "Worry about your team and your
sprain knee. Make sure tell them to get Marcus Mariota out there.
They got a little tape on the rookie, and he can't run the offense no more. Oh, geez. Oh.
Get Marcus Mariota ready to come in for Jaden.
Learn how to use StreamYard. Damn.
Oh my God, this is terrible.
Haters
Did you hear him?
We're gonna hate.
Yes, they are going to hate.
Haters gonna hate.
They are going to hate.
Hey, by the way, check out Fuji's Flair on Wednesday nights.
Yes. Fuji's Philly Flair, 7 p.m. right here on the Cole County Entertainment
Yes,
Network.
sir. Yes, sir.
If for nothing, just tune into the beginning of the show to see how it's going to turn out each week.
They got bad jokes to tell.
We love you, Fuji.
I loved last week's show. Last week was
it was phenomenal.
Show, except for the snafus in the beginning. that was embarrassing because if you do
wrong one, wrong one,
do that damn picture.
Wrong one. That was my bad.
You did not just show that picture.
It was too fast. Trust me, you're fine. I thought it was the other one.
Jesus Christ. We apologize to all people out there.
I might as well just log out now.
No, I'm deleting it right now. It's gone.
Yeah, right. It's probably in the archive somewhere.
It's on his,
no.
It's on his screensaver.
I keep it on my phone. It's my screensaver for sure. No, that was. I thought it was the other one. I thought it was the other opening.
I thought you had the Taylor Swift picture.
I do. I have
Kelsey on your screensaver.
So
you're watching.
Swifties.
So, kind of touching on what we were talking about, the Eagles are the only team since the AFL-NFL merger in 1970 to start 2-0, despite fewer than 250 passing yards and no passing touchdowns. Well, so this is just to our point.
Yeah. To our point.
It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Wait till I tell my.
So you had to go off the rails with that one.
Apparently, it's all off the rails. Well,
why don't we?
This is true. I don't know if we're ever on the rails, to be completely honest with you.
No, we started off good with Neil. Then I don't know what happened.
I hope you can edit that picture.
100%, and that's why we're going to call it a show right now.
Wow.
Look, for Alan Anchikavich, for Mike Fuji, I'm Kelly. It's a Pattison Phanatics show.